Hello and welcome to another edition of Capital Area Chats. I'm your host, Paul Brogan, and we're about all things in the greater Concord region. The places, the people, and the things that make this an amazing place to live, to work, and to play. Today, I have the good fortune to have two guests with me, and I think it's going to be a wonderful show in which we're going to talk about all kinds of things. They are, I will go ladies first, Jennifer Reynolds, and I want to make sure I get your title correct. She is Director of Recreation for Pleasant View Retirement, and Stephen Austin, who is the Director of Recreation Service for Presidential Oaks Senior Living. Do you go by your married name?
Yes.
You do? Then
Yes.
she is now Jennifer Austin as of a month ago. So congratulations on the air to both of you.
Thank
I
you.
should have asked before we went on the air.
That's okay.
So anyway, it's great to have you both here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us here.
It's my pleasure. And the jobs you do are incredibly important. And I know this firsthand because my mom is at Presidential Oaks, and she sings your praises, and I think she would get you nominated for an honorary sainthood if it were possible. I think she has connections with the Vatican, I'm not sure. But I do know how important the work that both of you do, and just in making the lives of those who often can't get out and about like they used to, but not to feel diminished or less as people because there are still so many things to, going on. And I know when I look at the schedule for Presidential Oaks that Mom has posted on her bulletin board, and I see, wow, I can't wait to be old. Well, I mean, there's something going on every day. And I'm sure over at Pleasant View, it's the same way,
Sure.
for you, Jennifer.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of activities, and you bring up a good point. It's important to stay active, really at any age, but when you're retired and just keep things going for everybody. So that's what we both do.
And well, it's important work. It really is, because just when there's been the recent lockdown, and I know that Mom, when there isn't as much going on, she becomes a little more withdrawn and more introspective and all of that. Whereas when there's things going on, I've gone up to visit her at times, and she said, well, I really don't have time right now. I'm due to do such and such a thing, and I don't want to miss it. And I think that's great. I mean, I love the notion of like a long time ago when I was a child, the notion of assisted living, or a nursing home as it was often called, was people sitting in rocking chairs on the front porch and not really having a lot to fill their time. And I always felt very sad and melancholy about that, because it seemed that maybe the spirit still wanted to do things, but there just wasn't, the opportunity to do it. So, Jennifer, I'll start with you first. What made you want to do this kind of work, and how long have you been doing it?
Gosh, I've probably at least 10 years in some capacity or another. I do write, and in that way it's always been health and wellness focused. So I'm often always trying to think of ways to help other people. I'm a curious person, creative, so I like to bring that to the table. So it's just through the years evolved where I'm working at Presidential Oaks, is where you at Pleasant View Retirement, and helping people with their activities and their gatherings. So I guess, to answer your question, a little over 10 years, and I truly enjoy bringing joy to people and listening to them and making sure that there's always something that they can do. And even though ours it's independent living, so they're free to come and go as they please, but I still feel as though it's very important to have that group component. So they're not always, say, with the same 2 or 3 people doing something, or always just baking or just doing a craft. So I like to bring something new to the calendar each month, whether it's a different entertainer or a historical reenactment. So there's always something to do, and that's pretty much the gist of it in a nutshell.
How many residents do you have there?
We have about 72 right now. Yep. Yeah.
So it's a nice amount to work with, and you get to know people
Yes.
on a personal basis. So, which must make it even more rewarding.
It is, and it's nice to see the sense of camaraderie. I think it really is strengthened when you have different activities. As I say, it's independent living, so people can come and go as they please.
Right.
But when you do things as a group, it really just strengthens the bond that people have and keeps people engaged, and it's very vibrant, and people need that always. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. That is wonderful. That's
Yeah.
really rewarding to hear.
Yeah.
How long have you been at Pleasant View?
I was at Pleasant View, the nursing home, for a couple of years, and then I've been here for just over 3 years now, and at the nursing home it was about, 2. So between the two, a little over 5 years. Before that, I was at the Veterans Home in their dementia units, working on activities. Yep, over in Tilton, and that's where we met. And then back in another life, it was advertising and that type of thing. So.
And your present position, is it rewarding in ways that even you might not have expected it to be?
I think it is. Well, I know it is, because every day there's always something different that takes place. So with 70-something people, you're hearing different conversations, and it runs the gamut. I mean, people will come and talk about things happening that might be very personal to them.
Yes.
Some things, it just changes almost daily, and that's what makes it interesting, really, for not just staff, but all of the other residents. So it is rewarding, and it's, transitioning from I say regular, but going into retirement living. I give tours there, and a lot of people often wonder, well, gee, what's going to be so different for me, not what I'm used to, and that is true. It is a change.
Yes.
But being in a community with other people is very helpful in making them feel more comfortable moving forward with their new life, and it's good for everybody. So it's nice to see it come to fruition when they do move in and they had those initial concerns. And to then see them become part of a community where they make friends with people and bond and engage. So, yeah.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
You're next. Well, you came, of course, RISD. You went to RISD in Providence and worked at Disney and have a very interesting past in that respect. What steered you into the direction of doing the kind of work you're doing now?
So it found me. This work found me in a strange way. So at that time, I was freelancing, and I'm also a part-time musician. And it got to a point where I needed to find something a little bit more steady, something with benefits.
Yes.
It's freelancing has its pros.
Yes,
but
it does, but it also
yes.
that you're missing that sort of stability of some regular hours, and the benefits are nice.
Exactly. Yeah, something steady. So this job came to me at Lakes Region General Hospital back before it was Concord Hospital. It was a position for an activities aide over there. And I thought about it and realized, well, what better thing? I can take my art skills and my music skills and put them towards helping other people, helping them heal. So that was a really appealing idea to me. So that was back in 2006, and I love what I do, absolutely love it. Just being able to be that person who can come into someone's room, not in a lab coat, and of course these roles, these people are all very important,
Yes.
but I think when they see you come in and you're not there to draw blood, you're not there to check vitals, you're just there to chat with them or to encourage them to come out to a music program, to give them something new, something different to do. That's been really
It does,
neat. And,
yes.
and getting to know these people, some of them, all of them have stories, unbelievable stories. I just love being able to get into their worlds.
And to be a part of that.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everything,
yeah, for
because
sure.
it's entirely the age range of the people that you deal with are anywhere from 60s on up,
Yeah.
and their life experiences, and they get a chance to share those. And
Yes.
sometimes for them it's incredibly rewarding to be able to, because often family have heard the stories before and look at them in a slightly different perspective maybe than someone who's in a different capacity.
Yes.
And someday someone should write a book, changing the names, of course, but about what it's like doing that kind of work.
We've
and
talked about
We
that.
have.
Yes, have you?
Yeah.
Well, I have a wonderful publisher, so let me know when you
okay.
decide to do that, and I've written 3 books, so I will be happy to steer you in the right direction.
Nice.
It's just that people who don't have family in an assisted living or independent living type of place really don't have a real notion as to what it's like in there. They have everyone, is just in there, and they don't understand the connections that are built and the friendships and the stories that are told that can influence and affect people like yourselves and the LNAs and others who hear these, because suddenly the person is more than just in room such and such or something like that. They become 3-dimensional, and you can find yourself, experiencing pieces of life that you or your own family may never, have that chance to experience. So it's a wonderful opportunity then for you to be a part of people's lives who aren't family, because family sometimes comes with challenges, whereas the people that you're interacting with in the places where you work, it's a totally different thing. Because, I know in my case how Mom looks up to you and always said, well, Mr. Austin was in, and he said this, and to me it's always Mr. Austin, because that's her era where she's from, and she wouldn't. But it's just I hear the stories about the activities, and it's so rewarding. And I know that there's another couple up there who I won't mention by name because of their privacy, but they were in a lot of my Ollie classes, my Ollie film classes that I did for years and years and years. And they are just amazing and wonderful. And they recently have gone there to Presidential Oaks, and they said that the activity portion is what really delights them, because they said we can't get out to go to the Ollie classes we used to and do some of the things that we used to. But fortunately, so much of this is brought in, and we still feel connected to the world and involved in things. And that's and it's a wonderful experience. I know how you both feel about doing that kind of work, because it has such value, and you sleep well at night too. When you're doing something,
You do. Knowing you're
it's
helping
something
and-
of value. So, Jennifer, how do you decide? Do you get input from some of the residents who say, "Hey, could we do this?" or "What about this or that or something else?" Do you get a good amount of input?
Definitely. So I had someone today come to me, and she had a suggestion about going on a sleigh ride. So that's maybe something we'll have to think about. But people are constantly coming with different ideas, whether it's an entertainer or varying the movies that we show. So we try to mix it up. And a lot of times, too, it's just kind of looking at the calendar. I always kind of inwardly joke and think there's an activity for almost everything, or a day. It's, for all we know, it's International Cookie Baking Day, and it's Celebrate the Color Green Day. So if you Google that, there's always things you can
do
come up with.
that
So
are like that.
and some of it is also just thinking of kind of what you were talking about earlier. Things don't have to go by the wayside in the way of whether art or things. So keeping that going and finding things that, well, what have we not done maybe in a while, or what would I want to do if I were here, if I maybe can't drive, or I can drive but I don't feel like driving to a certain class in the comfort of my own home in front of our fireplace, So, but it's a mix. It's a mix of things that I try to think of that are maybe a little different, and some of the residents coming to me with suggestions and that type of thing. So
Yeah.
Well, that's nice,
Yeah.
that they can feel that level of comfort
Yeah.
in being able to do that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
are they equally comfortable if something, they didn't like it when they
Oh,
did
sure.
it, and you're okay
Oh,
with
sure.
getting the
Yep,
critiques?
Yep. So it's if there's a movie that they weren't fond of, and we walked out halfway through it, and that's fine. And that tells me, okay, maybe we won't show as many of this kind of movie going
Yes,
forward, or something.
yes.
But we joke about it. It's all in the name of fun, but that helps too. It's constructive criticism and the good, the bad, and the everything in between, so to speak.
What
So
kind of movie do they particularly like?
probably I would say the times that when they were younger. So Bing Crosby.
Yep.
Maybe things from the 50s, 60s.
Uh-huh.
What are we showing? Or we did recently show Dial M for Murder,
Yeah.
Singing in the Rain.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Yes.
But also we have some people that say we don't mind seeing things that are maybe a little more sassy or more, rated different.
Uh-huh.
So in that regard, I do try to show a mix of comedy and yesteryear and popular, Barbie we showed. So
Oh,
yeah,
how did it go over?
very well. We had one lady who came decked out in pink.
Really?
She was very into it, so
That's
that
great.
went over well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, that's great. That is wonderful.
And we have resident council meetings. I know you guys have something similar to that as well.
Yeah.
We have one every month
Do
where
you?
we get
Uh-huh.
feedback from the residents on things that they like, that they would like to see more of, maybe sharing ideas, and then things that they would like to see done differently. So we get a lot of our feedback.
Do you get a fairly good turnout for that?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Yes, yes, we do.
Well, people love to feel they have a voice.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yep.
that's,
It's important.
oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. And you are able to implement things that are, reasonable. I mean, you can charter a flight and take them to a warmer
They would
climate.
love that.
I'm sure they
I would love that.
I'm sure they would.
I would gladly do that.
Yes,
I don't know if
yes.
it's in budget yet. But
No, not yet, but maybe someone will make a bequest or something
Yeah,
at
there
some
you go.
point and say this is for a once-a-month trip to the
Yes.
tropics.
Tropics.
Something,
yeah, that'd be
yes.
a popular activity.
But
But in that regard, that's something fun too. So we can't do that. We wish we
Yes.
could, but we'll do things where we bring the sunshine to. So we'll have a trip to somewhere, whether we watch a video and have food related to that country,
that,
or
uh-huh.
just bring the summer in the winter and have
yes.
Yeah.
fun that
Oh,
way.
nice.
Yep.
Well, good. So you get to use your imaginations, which is
Absolutely, yeah.
really important. It's not just structured. You can't deviate from this or this or this, or anything. Well, that's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
So, sounds wonderful. It really does, and it's so nice. The enthusiasm you both have for the job. And do you find, this time I'll ask you first, do you find that this job brings you an entirely different feel to yourself personally than other jobs you've had previously? Does it stir within you a certain creativity or
Yes.
joie de vivre that
Yeah. I've always worked in creative fields. This is a different kind, though. So this is one that is being tailored towards the individual needs of the residents. We like to meet them wherever they are. And
Yes.
we have a number of different levels of care that we provide.
yes.
So that's where the creativity comes into play. But it's really a mutual thing. I probably get just as much out of the activities as they do.
As they do.
You know?
Which is so important. I mean,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think they hone in on that easily, that, he's not just going through the motions. He's not just doing this because it's his job to do it,
Yeah.
but you're caught up in that kind of enthusiasm
Yeah,
for it.
yeah. And I also have a fantastic crew that I work with. And they all bring their own approaches. They're all really great with the residents and have their own style, and they bring ideas. They'll mention things that we haven't tried yet. So it's very much a group
team
effort,
effort.
as well as other departments. Social work, nursing, of course, plays a big role because, you know, we need help getting folks up
To
and
and back
ready,
and forth and
yeah,
everything
so
else,
It's very
and-
much an allied approach, group effort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's a big building. You know,
It
you've
is.
seen
It's
so-
a huge
Yeah.
building. Yes. When I was there last month, getting to the auditorium for the piano, you know, I thought, oh my God, I'm getting my steps in today.
Right.
Because,
Yes.
you know, it was a lot further than you realize even from outside.
Yeah,
And your building also, I mean, Pleasant View from the
Yes.
outside. It's, you know, that was, when I was growing up, I think that was the Christian Science home.
It definitely has its roots in that for sure.
Yes.
So if I'm getting this correct, I know that Mary Baker Eddy her home was on the site of not the current building itself,
Yes.
but her home was on that property. And that went by the wayside, and through the years it's evolved. I think shortly after she passed in the early 1900s, I believe, or 1920s, it became a retreat home that they was built for her or in honor of her recognition. And it's just kind of, in a sense, I feel like it's maintained that level of care for people.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's gone through some changes, and it's become what it is today.
Mhm.
But
What's
it is
it-
big, and I do
And
get my
it's a
steps
beautiful,
in.
and it's a
Yeah.
beautiful building
It is.
to go
It's
by.
lovely.
And,
A lot of people describe it as the old world elegance.
Yes,
So a lot
yes.
of places, not a lot, but many have kind of that cookie cutter
Oh, yes,
look, or
exactly.
recessed lighting and uber modern, and it's we have the nice lighting and the working fireplace and the big spacious areas. So it's very pretty for everyone.
As is Presidential Oaks, the original part that they've kept that built when it was the Oddfellows home, and that was. Does it still say the IOOF on it, or did they take
Yes,
that?
yeah.
Okay,
And
it does
throughout
still.
the building, there's still, I mean, the Oddfellows still oversee the organization.
Oh, really?
And yes, yep,
Ah,
yep.
uh-huh.
So they're very much involved, and when you walk up and down the halls, you'll see references to
References
the
to it.
Oddfellows. So yeah,
That's nice. That really is. I'm glad when they, you know, it was the same with the Centennial Home, which is the Centennial Inn, and that was the Centennial Home. And as a child, I was told you had to be 100 to live there, and I said, people can't live that long because when you're a child, you think 100.
Yeah.
But that was just the name they gave to it at the
Right.
time. But I'm glad that that building has been, you know, reconfigured, and that you know some of the buildings in Concord have, you know, survived
Yes.
the passage of time, and they keep them because it's just when you drive up through on that road and see, you know, Pleasant View here, and you see the Presidential Oaks up there. It's just there's something very peaceful and calming in stepping into history, and
Yep.
the fact that it's you know it's still here amongst us. So.
Yes, I think that's what people want when they live in a place
Yes.
like where we work.
Yes,
That
as
comfort.
opposed to a modern where there is no personality to it, really. There, it's just you could be anywhere, and there is nothing to connect you. And the sweeping views from both places, but I know from Presidential Oaks, looking out, that just in the fall with gorgeous foliage,
quite the view.
and yes, I know that a number of people go to the window there near my mom's room, and they just stand there and look out, and it's just peaceful, and it's
Yes.
you know it's calming, very relaxing. So great. Now, Jennifer, what do you see for your future plans? Do you like what you're doing? And
I
you
love what I'm doing. Yes,
good.
yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I think Concord needs more people like both of you. So, but you really. Do you share stories about your experiences at your individual places from time to time?
Sure, sure.
And that
So-
must work wonderfully because you're experiencing similar things in both places. So that brings another common bond, you know, to your marriage, you
Sure.
know,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
is wonderful. So,
No, we
well,
like
good.
to talk about it and just
Uh-huh.
kind of sometimes, you know, bouncing ideas off, but it's just interesting, you know, doing essentially the same thing and working with the community and other residents and
Yeah.
talking about it. So it's nice. At the end of the day, it's not like we can't relate to, he's doing something with math and I'm doing something entirely different. And
Yeah.
so it's nice to have that similar.
That's
jobs.
great. That really is. That's so nice for both of you. And you like Concord. It's a wonderful community.
It
isn't
is.
It really
We've
and
been very
truly
happy here.
is just a very welcoming and very appreciative community. And certainly the work that you're doing adds to what makes Concord Concord. So.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're just about out of time, so I want to thank you both for taking time from your busy schedules and joining me today. And I will definitely have you back at some point.
Wonderful.
But I really want to thank Jennifer Austin and Stephen Austin for dropping in today and talking about your fabulous work. And I want to thank you for what you do and for making a difference. And
Thank you.
that's just about it here at Capital Area Chats. I want to thank my guests. I want to thank Matt behind the scenes. I want to thank Concord TV. And I want to thank all of you out there who take the time to let me know that you are watching or that you enjoyed the show. So this is Paul Brogan, your host, saying I'll see you on Capital Area Chats again real soon. Thank you.